Hi, this is Bob Umlis with another tip, but this time from a different book called More Excel Outside the Box. It's a similar tip to what we did once before in the book called Excel Outside the Box. This book is published also by Bill Jelen, Mr. Excel, MrExcel.com, or from Amazon.com. And let's get to the issue. So I'm going to go to Rearrange. Someone sent me this file and wanted to know how he can fill this all the way down. And what I have here is these three cells kind of transposed to here, then the next three cells transposed to here, etc. This goes down to row 1353. And the formulas in here, and I'll show you the formulas by doing Control tilde. It's just a reference to A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one thought might be to fill this down, but you can see that the pattern is not repeated. What I want is A1, A4, A7, but it went back to A3. And again, A2, 5, 8, and so on. This clearly doesn't work. So let's undo that. What I want to do is have the pattern A1, A4, A7 all the way down. So that was down to row 1353, I believe. Let's double check that. Yes, 1353. And if I want to see how far to go, it goes 1353 divided by 3, because I'm changing those 1353 cells by one column into 3 columns. So I need 451 rows. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change, go to Find and Select, Replace. I'm going to replace the equal sign with an X equals. That makes it all text. And watch what happens if I fill this down a little bit. You'll see I get the pattern I want. So now it's a matter of filling this down to the right row. And dragging down will take quite a while. So instead, I'm going to click on this cell, hit the F5 for a go to, and I'm going to go to cell E452. 451 rows, but I'm starting in row 2 effectively, so it's going to end in E452. If I hold the Shift key down when I click OK, the active cell will be anchored, and it will still be the active cell. So even though I'm down here, you see that C2 is still the active cell. And what I want to do now is fill series. I'm going to click on autofill, which is like the fill handle. Click OK, and I get exactly what I'm looking for. All I need to do now is go back to replace. I'm going to replace the X with nothing. Replace all, and I am done. So you see the third row is these 3 cells. If I go down to the bottom here, Control down arrow, you see that the last one I'm looking at is AFF 255, which in fact is the last one shown here. So now I want to show you the same thing, but with a VBA solution. So I'm going to clear all these out, Control Shift down arrow, hit the delete key. So we'll start from here. And the interesting thing about the VBA solution is that one thing you need to know is if I have a range reference in VBA, let's say this one, qualified by another range reference. So if I have this reference qualified by, let's say, cells 1, this reference dot cells 1 is in fact this active cell. This reference cells 2 is here. Cells 3 is here. Cells 4 is here. This reference, again from row 5 to 9, if I say rows 3 would be here, not row 7. Rows 3 is inside that. And I'm going to take advantage of that and makes this run very, very quickly. Go to the Developer tab, Visual Basic, and this is the entire macro. It's all done in one statement aside from the loop. So the last row I need to do is I went to pretty much the bottom of row A, column A, sorry. A100,000 is that? No, A1,000,000.endxlup.row is the last row, and that'll be 1353. And I go for 1 to the last row, and I have range C2 resized. So range C2 is this cell that's highlighted in the background, resized by the last row, 1353 divided by 3, that's the 451, and 3 columns. So this is the range, and then I have this range object qualified by another range object. So cells I, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, etc., 4, 5, 6, which will be, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to fill that up. Its value is the cells from the row 1, column 1 value. So if I run this, it'll run pretty quickly. It's done already. Go down to the very bottom. It was quite quick. Matter of fact, I can't undo it, but I can wipe this out. Oops, if I select the right things, wipe it out. And I don't even need these because it replaced the formulas. So let's get rid of all that. And I'm going to do it from scratch, but I'm going to also put in a timer here. I'm going to say x equals timer, which is the time it's running. And then I'm going to message box timer minus x. And that should be how long it took. So I'm going to run this macro, developer, macros, run the rearrange. It took just about 0.3 seconds. That's pretty quick. Well, that's the tip for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be back again. So stay tuned. So after all that was said and done, I had this thought that there's a much easier way to do all this, because since the dynamic arrays came into existence, it's still fairly new, and perhaps many of you don't have it. But with the dynamic array, I found a very, very simple solution that's much better than what I've come up with before. So I'm going to take another copy of this, move it here, and I'm going to put the new solution right here. It's taking advantage of the new dynamic array called sequence. If I do sequence here, and I use that 1353, the number of rows, but I specify the number of columns, notice I have those numbers, and I could use those as the index to the row of column A. So if I put in here the index of all of A for the sequence of that, boom, I have my answer. So much easier. And I just thought of it a little while ago after I published this video. So I'm going to be republishing it. And you should get Office 365 or Microsoft 365. Look at the amazing difference that using this dynamic array makes. Okay. I hope that makes your life even easier.